Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's social media. What is it, Ravi? Social media Q&A with
Social media Q&A.
social media Q&A with Ravi Shukul. We do this every single month, and we welcome you, our community, whether you're watching on LinkedIn or in Facebook or on Facebook. And we welcome you to ask your burning social media questions. And every month, Ravi, he themes these questions. Last month was content marketing. The first month was general social media. And this month is using social media tools. And when we say social media tools, we don't just mean social media tools like Agora Pulse, for example, but we mean all of the different tools that you can use to make your life easier and better as a social media manager or a social media marketer. So I'm really excited for Ravi, who is super experienced, to answer your burning questions. But first of all, let me introduce you to Ravi. Ravi, tell us more about you.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. Again, we had lots of fun in the other chat where we talked all about content marketing, and then, like you said, we did general social media. And today's one's kind of extra special because it's social media tools that you use or you can use on a daily basis that will kind of make your life easier, save you time, increase your productivity. And the reason I know that these tools exist is because over the last 10 or so years, I've played around with so many and wasted a lot of time and saved a lot of time. So I just wanted to share the ones that worked, and hopefully everyone listening can pick up a few that they can test out and get some results for themselves.
Thank you, Ravi. And last time, actually, during the content marketing Q&A, you came up with a few different tools that I think were like wow moments for lots of people, like the way that you can create different, there's a Chrome extension for if you have lots of tabs open, and you can use different browsers and different tabs and that kind of thing. I thought that was a really cool tool. Guys, by the way, before we do start the Q&A, I just want to let you know that Agora Pulse has got a brand new YouTube channel that has just launched. Actually, it's not really launched yet. It's launching on Monday. So this is like an exclusive. And if anybody wants to find that, where can they go, Ravi?
They can literally just search for Agora Pulse UK. You'll see our channel. It's super brand new. Our first few videos are up there. So we'd love to get your feedback on what you guys think. And it's kind of what we're doing today, but in a more unique and entertaining way where we just share the latest social media tips and strategies. So feel free to check it out and let us know what you think. And, if you enjoy what you see, then appreciate it. Subscribe.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ravi. Okay, so let's get into the questions, shall we? So first of all, I have a question for you, like I do every single time. So my first question is, when it comes to social media tools, what is the social media tool that you could recommend that if you're just perhaps starting out in social media marketing and you're thinking there's so much technology and apps and that kind of thing out there, what is the number one tool that you couldn't live? I mean, of course, aside from Agora Pulse, that you couldn't live without as a social media marketer.
Yeah, I think obviously the first one would be a management tool, because your job in digital is to manage the social channels. So let's just say social media management tool aside, the next thing that people really don't realize or appreciate until they get into a role or work with a client is the project management side of things. So with social media, it's a lot more than just writing tweets and Facebook posts. You get emails, you have campaigns. Each campaign has different end dates. Then you have events and even live events. So how do you track all of that? A couple of free tools which I've used, which worked really well. So for instant messaging, you can obviously use something like Slack, SLACK. Again, that's just more like an instant messenger, so you can chat with team members, and you can kind of set up a free account with your basic team. Next is how to actually track what you're working on. There's a couple tools here, but the ones that I like the most, the two ones are Trello, so Trello, and Asana, Asana, I believe. Both of those, basically, whenever you're working on something as a social media manager or digital manager, you could type in your task, put it into a card. So it could be, for example, launch YouTube promotion, for example. You can then set an end date. You can then assign that to somebody. And every time you come in the morning, you can see all your cards based on all the things you need to do. So, and you can assign each card to a list. So the way I like to do it for project management tools, you could have a to-do, in progress, and done. And if you set that off straight away, like you mentioned, the first thing, you're going to be able to manage your day, week, and month a lot easier, because in the world of social media, like last minute requests are such a common thing, and you're going to forget as soon as that person goes away or you close your laptop or whatever. So keeping all your campaigns and stuff you're working on in a project management tool is going to be a game changer when you're first starting out, or even if you haven't done that, to launch that as the first thing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ravi. So those were Asana and Trello, did you say?
Yeah, and then for instant messaging, so you can just chat, something like Slack could be really good as well. I believe they've got free and paid plans that you can choose.
Fantastic. So Slack as well. We're keeping a note of all of these, by the way, everyone, and we're going to write it all up for you so that you know what they all are. Okay, so I think that's so important. I mean, project management, knowing where you are, making sure that you're on top of everything. Because like you talked about last time, being able to scale campaigns and content and that kind of thing means you have to have these really good processes in place. And that's a great start, isn't it? Using tools like Asana and Trello. So the next question, well, the first question we have today is from Anna Sophia. And her question is just going to come up on the screen, but I'm going to read it out to you as well. Hi, Ravi. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Ravi. Thank you for this meeting. I would like to know what your recommendation would be to create short video content, Canva, Vimeo, etc. Already a couple of good suggestions there.
Yeah, of course.
Ravi, what would you recommend?
The first, well, thanks for asking, Anna. I think the first thing we need to understand is, what is your video editing experience like? If it's someone that's done it before and they're used to tweaking things around, you could use a bit more of an advanced solution, so like a Camtasia or Adobe After Effects or something where you have more control over exactly what happens in the video. If you just want something quick for social media, like we're talking 15 seconds to 2 minutes with templated video, then Canva does have video, like you mentioned. InVideo is another good one, in.video. And there's another one called Lumen, Lumen. I think it's Lumen 5 is the full name. And what these video tools do is they have a template set out. So if you're going to announce Easter or bank holiday, whatever it may be, you literally just choose the template, you double click the text and you can change it. You click the image once, you can replace it, and it creates a nice video for you in one swift go without having to tweak, edit, change the sound, all the other geeky stuff that video editors like to get involved in. You don't have to worry about any of that. So Canva can do short templated videos. InVideo can do short templated videos. If you've got experience, you can use something like Adobe After Effects or Camtasia, which is a little bit more advanced. I'd say Camtasia is pretty easy as well, but it's still a video editing suite. Whereas if you just want to get started, using InVideo and Canva will be the quickest ways with the shortest learning curve.
Well, Ravi, there's loads of suggestions there. So, Anna, I hope that helps, because there's just so many to get started with, isn't there? I personally like Canva for quick social media videos as well. I think it's just really quick and effective. But, definitely if you've got experience in video editing, like Jenny Brennan says that you have, because she's saying that, Ravi, you're the best editor. We imagine you're using something super, super advanced. Is that right? Are you?
Yeah, so thanks for that, Jenny. So I'm actually using Camtasia, believe it or not. I have used advanced video editing where you can like do something specific frame by frame, but something like Camtasia, you can just chop, cut, stitch them together without being too technical. And obviously you can upload directly to YouTube. You can change the resolution, all that other kind of stuff. So again, it's super easy. And while we're on the subject of tools, actually, Camtasia also own, I believe, a screen capture tool, which is their own screen capture software. So if you do download Camtasia, you'll get the screen capture software as well. And it allows you to just take screenshots straight away on your PC or laptop. And you can also use to record a segment of your screen so you can send it to clients. But I'll talk about screen capture stuff later on. But again, I actually use Camtasia because it has the shortest learning curve as well. So it's very easy to get started with. Brilliant.
Thank you so much for that, Ravi. You do have a few fans here saying how great you are on YouTube and that kind of thing, which is fantastic. And Anna says, wow, thank you. I have no experience and that is great information. So there you go. We're glad to have helped, right?
Yeah.
So our next question, so from productivity, to, project management to video onto LinkedIn. Edwin
Yes.
is asking, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. What tools would you recommend for this platform? So very specific.
Yeah,
but
it's a good question. Well, nice to see you back again, Edwin. You seem like a regular feature on the show, so great to see you here. So, yeah, very good question. So, LinkedIn wise, we mentioned right at the beginning, but you need a social media management tool to schedule to any social network. And to have full control of it. That's what I mean. So obviously, you know, we're here with Agora Pulse, so we would use a tool like that to schedule the posts. If, however, you're talking about LinkedIn Live and you want to do way more with LinkedIn than just schedule posts, then there's loads of live streaming softwares out there. You have StreamYard, and you have like Restream. So there's different types of live streaming softwares, but yeah, for your question in particular, you'd have to apply on LinkedIn to be approved for the live. But specifically, if you just want to post day to day on your LinkedIn, I'd look into a social media management platform. So obviously Agorapulse is one of them. There's other tools out there as well, but just make sure that the tools does have LinkedIn as a feature. And when we're talking about LinkedIn here, we're talking about company pages as well. So again, scheduling to your pages, company pages is going to be key with the tool, because it means you save time, you know, rather than having to upload every day at a specific time and setting a calendar reminder. So you can kind of almost schedule in advance and free up your time to take more amazing photos. So hopefully that's helped, Edwin. Let me know specifically if there's anything on LinkedIn you wanted to do with the with your content. But if it's just posts, then a social media management tool will be perfect for that.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Ravi. I hope that answered your question, Edwin. Thank you for coming here again and being here regularly. Please feel free to ask more questions if you have them as well.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about LinkedIn, but what about the other social media channels? So say you have to manage several social media accounts and that kind of thing. What's the best way to be able to, make sure that content is going out regularly? And then I think after that, just being able to measure the content that you've created. What's the best way to do that? What are the best tools to use to, first of all, make sure content's going out to lots of different social networks that you are active on, and then how do you measure that content as well? What kind of tools?
Yeah, so it's a good question, because each social network obviously has their own different styles in terms of how you post to their channels, right? So Instagram has stories, it has reels, it has videos, it has live video. Facebook has something similar. LinkedIn obviously has posts and texts and even live video. So the first thing I'd recommend is research your social media management tools to see what suite of channels they offer. Now, the way social media management tools work is officially you have to get the permission from the actual social networks in the form of like a API or a code, and that allows the channel to then schedule to that social network. Each social management tool will have different channels that they allow. So if you have 5 or 6 channels, just make sure the tools that you're researching have access to all of those. And once you have figured out that they have got the channels you want, then you need to look at the next part of your question, which is the reporting. So some softwares obviously charge for reporting. It could be an extra feature, but regardless of which one you go with, you need to make sure that the reporting's built in. Like for example, with Agora Pulse, once you've kind of put your tweets and your post through the social media channel, a reporting tab will be separate, and obviously all your information will collect for you, and you just need to download that and use that. So again, choosing a social media management tool that has all the social networks your business is on is going to be key. Secondly, make sure it has reporting built in. And thirdly, if you're not in the market of buying a social media tool, then that's completely fine as well. But you will have to learn how to go into your insights and then download the information or put it into an Excel or somewhere where you can measure what happens week on week. Because without that information, you really are going to be struggling to find out why it is you're not getting the results you want, or why it is that you're growing so fast. You wouldn't know whether it's a video, this live question Q&A we're doing now, or whether it was something you posted last week. So if you're not using a social media management tool, make sure you go into the settings and the insights to download that data manually, and make sure you can keep track of it that way as well. So there's both options there, but the tool is obviously going to be the one that's going to save you time, which is our goal for today's chat for everyone.
Thank you, Ravi. That was really good. Now, So this is a little bit different, I think, because it's not so much on the, content creation or analytics or organisation. It was kind of on the organisation side, actually. I just remember, because I was a social media manager for a long time, quite a lot of years, like quite early. And I just remember having lots of clients and getting really overwhelmed quite quickly, and having some clients who wanted, so much more, even though they were paying so much less. And I think we can all understand that, and we've all been there. We might still be going through it, some of us now. So what I want to know is, do you have any tools in mind for people who want to make sure they're able to kind of manage the time they spend on particular clients, and being able to kind of schedule in time for themselves, so you're not consistently on social media all day and night, and you're able to manage your time, I guess, effectively?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. And, everyone deals with that. Like, I'd be lying if I said I was the most productive guy in the world. Like, I get distracted on YouTube or whatever it is, right? So it happens to all of us. The kind of first answer is going to be a bit unique, because it obviously comes down to you, because only you know when you have time for tasks and when you can fit it in. So first of all, you're going to have to kind of sit yourself down almost and be like, when can I realistically put time in to manage these different clients? Secondly, when you're managing multiple clients, there's two key things here. So when you're working with clients that aren't maybe used to the process, that never worked with an agency or a freelancer before, they're going to come throwing in all their requests at you. So the first thing is, there's a tool to help you create contracts for your social media or digital work. It's called PandaDoc. And the reason I'm mentioning that tool is because that will help you create your contract. And in there, you can actually create a template and then easily change for each client you get. And within those terms, you can put the level of interaction, so like a weekly call, or how many social networks you manage, maybe even how many tweets or posts you're putting out. So that's stage one, to manage your expectations in terms of how often they can get your time. Then stage two would be, once you've actually started that conversation, have somewhere where you can actually manage that conversation with them. So like we mentioned Trello and we mentioned Asana, so you can add them to the boards, and that way if they've got questions, they can kind of see straight away. You can see in real time based on their feedback. I like to use Google Docs. Again, because it's online, you don't have to send attachments anymore, because nothing worse than downloading a long, big video or an attachment. So use Google Docs, set up a separate folder for your clients, make sure the permissions is set that only that client can have access to that folder. And that way they can drag in all their content. You could have a separate Google Doc for notes, and that way every time you have a meeting, you can update that. And that's going to avoid you a lot of hassle, I should say, in the future, because if the client was like, well, I never asked for that, you can be like, well, here's the notes. It's exactly what we agreed. And also they can dump all their photos and videos into your folders as well to help save you time. But to answer your question about allocating that time, I would dedicate some time on a specific day or within the week to actually work on client projects. But when it comes to emails, that's such a tricky one. Well, there's two things here. If you've got a little bit of time there, using for those of you who use Gmail or whatever email provider you use, you'll actually find there's a way to template emails. Now, I don't know if you've used the feature before, but for those that haven't, if you're onboarding clients or you have a weekly report, you can almost create a template which has the subject, the body of the email all pre-written, and that way whenever you have to send a weekly report and you usually write the same thing, you can load up that template, slightly tweak it and send it out. Another thing is you can schedule your emails as well. So Gmail allows it. Lots of email providers allow you to schedule your email. So if you're sending stuff out to your clients, and rather than them assuming that you work till 10, 11 o'clock every night, which you probably do, you can schedule those for the next day to make it a bit more productive. So look at your email providers. You can schedule emails out, so you're not having to be on your PC or laptop all day long replying back to clients, because that's the biggest resource to kind of drain your time, which is what we don't want. So with your email providers, schedule emails to go out, schedule a time in the day to check your email so it's not distracting you in the rest of the day, and obviously have a set day or week that you like to work on projects for your clients, and use Trello or Asana to manage that.
Thank you, Ravi. Sorry, like when you're working from home and then someone knocks on the door and it's a delivery, that's what just happens.
It's fine. We're working in real time. These things happen. No worries.
Oh dear. Okay, so Sam's actually, Felicity's asking, what is PandaDoc?
So PandaDoc is a software that allows you to create contracts. So you can create an agreement with yourself and the client, and PandaDoc allows you to store that online. And if you want a signature on your contract, like you've just signed a 3-month social media management package, you can email that to the client. They can fill in their digital signature, and they can even pay you all via this online portal. It's all built in. And as soon as they sign it and they pay you, you'll get an email back with the signed contract. And again, it's just a nice, easy way for you to manage the actual legal side of it in case they don't want to pay you anymore, or they give you short notice. You've got your terms and stuff covered. And I think it's a bit overlooked with people who work in digital, because I know like you have a nice relationship with your client, but if something happens tomorrow, you really want to protect yourself in terms of your time and your money. So PandaDoc is a software that allows you to create a templated contract, which you can easily send to your clients within a couple of clicks. So again, you could do it manually if you get someone in your legal team to write something up. But if you have a template, you don't have to ask them every time, and it'll just help save you time in the long run. Especially like Lucy said, if you're managing multiple clients, you really want a solution that you can just click and edit as you go.
Absolutely. And Ravi, how much, because we use a lot of social media tools and a lot of productivity tools and digital tools. And
yeah, of course.
It can become quite costly, can't it, when you add up all of these different things? So how much does something like PandaDoc cost, for example?
I mean, obviously working in real time, so I can have a quick look, but I guess it depends on the needs of the business in terms of how many contracts and stuff. But I think it starts from about $20, about £15 a month, and you get unlimited signatures, you get unlimited templates, and you got analytics as well. You can see when they've opened and when they've dragged it. So £15 a month, you can get started with that straight away. So again, it's really going to just help keep track of everything for you, because it puts it into a dashboard. So if you've got 7 contracts all happening at the same time, you know who signed it, you know who's paid it, you know when the reminder for payment comes up. Everything is kind of built in. So give it a try, guys. Again, I'm not an affiliate or anything. I've just personally used it, so I can only recommend what I've used, because I know it's quite easy to get comfortable with and to set up. So give it a try. Otherwise, you can always create something in Google Docs and speak to someone who's a legal professional, and they'll obviously write you something up which is more tailored to each of your clients.
I love that. And actually, we use DocuSign.
Yes, DocuSign.
About 5 for about £20 a month, but it sounds like this is better value, so well worth looking into as well. And there's another tool that I was thinking about actually, so that I really like is with HubSpot. You can get a tool where you know when people have opened your email, how many times they've opened it, and a little trick, especially if you are selling to clients, for example. A little trick that I used to use is, now people are going to know this. I know I get a notification when someone's opened the email. So if it's a proposal I'd sent over or something, they've opened the email, and you call them at that moment, and they go, "Oh, I was just thinking about you," and you're like,
yeah.
"It must be fake then."
Yeah, that's actually that's a really good strategy actually. But built into all these email platforms, I don't know if you have seen it in the settings. There's something called read receipts. Yeah. And that is basically the same thing. But if you haven't got HubSpot, a read receipt, if you tick that option, means that your email provider, I'm just going to use Gmail in this instance, they will send you an email as soon as someone's opened that. And again, it's like Lucy said, it's perfect if you follow up with them. But also the opposite's true. If they haven't opened your email in 3 or 4 days, you can be like, oh, hey, just seeing how things are going. Or it's a good way to kind of keep on top of it. So yeah, that's the read receipt feature. Or like you said, if you've got HubSpot, like Lucy mentioned, you can always use the feature there to follow up with them as soon as they've opened it, especially for content, for all those digital and social media guys. If someone hasn't downloaded your file in time, again, it's a way to check that. If you're sending big files, you can use something like wetransfer.com, wetransfer.com. I think it's like 2 gig of files for free, and you get an email once your person's downloaded it. So an easy way to send massive files without worrying about attachments.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ravi. So yeah, we've talked about, you know, video tools. We've talked about productivity tools. organization tools and video tools even, and that kind of thing. But what about images? Like, we haven't talked about images, and I think that's just such a huge part of a social media manager's role. Some social media managers outsource it to the graphic design, and of course some social media managers are just expected to create all the images and all the videos and just everything. Nowadays, aren't they? Like, they're literally superpower social media managers, because they have to do everything, so much more than just social media managers. So when it comes to image creation or branded image creation, that kind of thing, the thing that I think of first is Canva. But of course, there's loads more tools that you can use, aren't there, Ravi?
There's loads of tools. Well, first of all, I'm going to agree with you 1,000,000%. A social media manager is not a graphic designer. They're not an ad specialist. They have knowledge on everything, but these are technical separate roles, and we've both probably been through it, and many people probably listening. Whereas when you get hired initially, the social media guy is just the label that they use to cover all of marketing. So you kind of end up doing everything, like image design, video, email. So with that said, you obviously need the right tools to kind of help you to manage that. So images is definitely a big one. We know Canva is a huge one because they've marketed it so well out there. And in terms of design skills, it's obviously very minimal in terms of getting started. They have so many templates which you can just click and edit and adapt. There's other design tools. I think PicMonkey is another one which does something similar, but it's more like filters and simple things. Another one which you may or may not know is one called pixlr.com. So pixlr.com. Now, for anyone that's used Photoshop before, we know how much that can cost. And I believe Photoshop has now moved to a cloud-based billing. So like you have to pay a couple $100 a month or pounds or whatever it is that you pay. But that's an expensive software. So if you're first starting off, pixlr.com essentially is like online Photoshop. And it's really powerful because it does two things. You can load your designs exactly as you would in Photoshop, but within this free online website. So there's no downloads required. You have all the same icons, like the brush strokes, the stamps, the cropping, the lasso tool to cut around an image. All of that is in Pixlr as well. And the real game changer for me is if clients send you a Photoshop file, I think it's .psd, and you have no way of opening it because you don't have Photoshop. I believe you can open it in Pixlr as well. So if you just want to make quick edits, it's just going to be a game changer to give you that little bit more flexibility. It's a little bit more advanced than Canva because you can do a lot more with like layering your images. So like take out the kitchen from my background, change my t-shirt color. Like if you want to go way more into that level of detail for images, then something like Pixlr would be good. And for Canva, you can design your everyday graphics. So like your social posts that go out regularly, your themed series on your channels, and also has video as well. So then again, for day-to-day, you can use something like Canva. And there is actually another tool actually called Placeit. I'm just gonna quickly.
I love it so much.
So it's placeit.net. So the website is www.placeit.net. And for those wondering what it is, well, I mean, Lucy just mentioned she used it, but essentially it's an image mock-up website. You can put your logo, your image into any environment and it'll automatically add it in with no design experience. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like, I don't know, if I'm holding up my phone right now, I can get the logo straight in there without any experience. You just have to upload it straight in. You can put it onto a t-shirt, a vest, a dog wearing a jacket, a billboard, like any physical item you have, the Placeit tool will just allow you to transfer your logo in there. And if you've got editing experience and you want something a little bit more unique, then they've got templates in there as well for video. So like I know Anna mentioned in the beginning, Placeit also has free video, it has YouTube templates for end screens, and it obviously allows you to just mock up, I think, up to 10,000 different images into different scenarios. So if you're just starting out and you want that professional look for your website, you want a nice fancy desk with a plant on it, with your logo on the laptop, you can just drag your company's website print screen into that tool and it's all done and dusted for you. So again, it's going to save you heaps of time. Canva has that feature as well called mockups, but the Placeit tool has thousands, whereas Canva, I think, are just getting started in that market.
Absolutely, that's a really good tip. Actually, I think it would save so much, time and energy for social media managers who don't have that graphic design resource. Because so many don't actually,
Yeah.
and you're kind of learning on the job, aren't you? Sometimes as well, which is tough. So there's a couple of comments that aren't related, like nice branded top. Lucy Edwin says, "Thank you. This is I've got a Pulse logo on it.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you for that, Ravi. It came through the post just a couple of days ago, Friday, I think. And then Edwin also says, nothing to do with social media, but how are you getting on with your standing desk, Ravi?
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, you can see, I'm not 7 foot tall, obviously, so I'm not sitting down. So I'm getting used to standing up. I think the way I do it is from the morning till lunchtime, I stand, and then after lunch and stuff, you kind of sit to mix it up. And me personally, I have actually noticed my concentration going a bit higher, because when you're sitting down, everything's at arm length to like play around with, touch your phone or whatever. When you're standing, I just feel like you're more in the moment with what you're looking at. I've still got 2 screens, but it just means that I can, because you have to physically stand and face what you're doing, you kind of a lot more focused with it. So yeah, I'll be doing a separate review on that on my channel anyway, because I actually combine it with a treadmill. But I think walking and talking to you, Lucy, would be super weird for everyone wondering why I'm bouncing around. So for now, I use it for a couple of hours a day. So it's working really well. I guess it's still a tool, I guess, in the way it helps you focus. So if anyone wants to know what desk I use and stuff, just let me know, and I'll share it in the comments afterwards as well.
Thank you. Do you think it helps your productivity sometimes, standing up and just?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you type standing and compared to sitting, obviously you're at alert because you're standing anyway, right? So you're more ready to kind of work on your tasks. And then I think when you sit, you could just lounge and swivel your chair, and you obviously can still get distracted standing. I just found the concentration a little bit better. And obviously it helps with the blood flow and everything, so you're not in one place all at one time. So if anyone hasn't tried it, then it's worth giving it a go, because you can always just press one button and go back to sitting. So there's no pressure with standing all day long.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ravi. So there's a question here actually that came from Sam, and she's asking, hi Lucy and Ravi, what are your top 3 tools you couldn't live without for your business or your role?
Yeah, really good question. For me, I've probably mentioned it in loads of other shows, and like I'm quite geeky with processes. Like in my head, like if I had Post-its, it'll be like that Bruce Almighty scene where he has them like all over his room. That's definitely me. But because my brain can't process stuff in Post-its, something like Trello for me is a massive game changer. So I can't live without that, because I think, I think more than I speak. So there's way more thoughts flying around in my head than I actually want to say. So I quickly jot them down into a project management tool like Trello. And it could be just for ideas. And then when I come around to working on something like a YouTube video or even this live video, I could turn around and say, well, I've got 15 ideas from last week when I was walking that I just kind of jotted down. So Trello for project management, Google Docs to manage documents with clients and colleagues, because no one wants to send attachments anymore. They take up memory, it's quite long. Obviously, you still need to send stuff, but with Google Docs, you can have all your conversations online. You can leave comments on your docs, and you can share folders. And I just found it an easier way. And more importantly, with both those solutions, you can manage it on your phone. Trello has a tool. Asana has a mobile app as well if you don't want to use Trello. And Google Docs have an app as well, so you can access all your docs on the go. And thirdly, obviously, working in social media, I need a social media management tool. So I'm going to say Agora Post, because I use it on a daily basis, because it helps me manage all my comments, my questions, my posts, my social listening, and even the reporting all in one place. So for social, I'd use those things. And for productivity and day-to-day, Google Docs and Trello.
Brilliant. They're good tools. So I hope that answers your question, Sam.
Yeah, and Trello and Google Docs are obviously free. So again, you don't need any learning curve. You can just get started with those straight away. And Asana.
I think that's really important to note, isn't it? Because I was just saying just a minute ago that there's so many different tools that you can get as a social media manager. And you see it, it's really easy to go, oh, I'll sign up for the free trial for that. I'll sign up for that, and I'll try that, and I'll try that. it can all become really very costly, can't it, over time? So if you've got 10 different tools that you feel like you absolutely need, and they're all costing like 20, 30, 40, 50, some social media management tools cost £200-300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So how is there a way to kind of like work out what tools you really need, or do you think you should have a tools budget within your business? Do you think a social media software budget?
That's a really, really good question. I think you should have a budget so you don't overspend. That's obviously smart because you do that in your personal life. Why not do it for business? But the difference with businesses, you might want to be flexible in the terms of what it offers you. So if I paid £200 a month for a tool and it only did spreadsheets and PowerPoint as an example, but I needed spreadsheets, PowerPoint, and Word documents, for example, so you had to pay more. Is it going to be worth it to pay more to have something all built in? Or do you need separate smaller tools to manage what you do? I think you need to that you can review. But if a solution can offer you multiple things from one tool, then it's worth paying a little bit extra for. That's the advice I'd give. And obviously just track it. Like, with Netflix, we never look at our bank account. It just comes out at whatever, £8 a month. And I'm sure a couple of years have gone by and you just paid the increase because you just don't know what's going on. So with business tools, you obviously get sent an invoice once you paid for something. So maybe just first make a list of the tools you have and then the cost next to it, and find out if you can combine some of those together so you don't have to pay separately.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. That's really good advice. And I think every time we do our accounts, we just kind of go, what's this tool, what's this tool we've got, what's this tool, and just try and see if we can live without them, basically, because it can get very, very expensive. Are there any other tools, Ravi, that we haven't asked about or you haven't mentioned that you think are really good for social media managers or social media marketers to use? I think I'd specifically like to know about tools that you can use for managing ads, for example, for social media ads. I don't know if there's any light you can share.
Yeah, so obviously with ads, it's a bit trickier because it obviously comes down to the what Facebook allow. I'm just giving Facebook as an example because most people have tried Facebook or Instagram. But with those kind of tools, I'd probably say depends how much detail you want. Like, for example, with ads, like Agorapost has an ad comments one built into there. And if you're looking at other tools as well, then the other social media management platforms do have ads built in, but it's not going to be the full end-to-end management of the ad, so like setting it up and targeting. So to answer your question, you mentioned HubSpot. They have ad management in there. You can set up the targeting, you can set up what the ad looks like, but again, you'd still need to go to Facebook itself to actually manage the detailed audiences and stuff like that. So there isn't a solution I'm aware of that can give you the full ad experience compared to your Facebook ads manager. But if you want to manage elements of your ads, so creating basic ads, boosting posts, then there are things like Ad Espresso and other solutions out there to manage the small parts of the campaign. But if you want the full experience, that you'd probably be wise to learn the ads manager dashboard so you can actually have everything in one place and manage it and give clients access and everything. And if we're talking about saving money, then obviously the ads management platform itself is free. But yeah, there is Ad Espresso, Agorapost, there's loads of others that have elements of ad management in there, but they won't be able to give you the full suite compared to obviously the actual Facebook ads manager, because then you'll be able to be in control of every element of your campaign.
Fantastic, thank you, Ravi. And one of the things we get asked about it a lot is hashtags. So
yeah,
are there any tools or apps that you can use to establish or to do some research around hashtags, which hashtags are going to be right for, especially your Instagram posts, because obviously you can have hashtags or whatever. So I'd love to know which tools you recommend for hashtags.
Yeah, I think with hashtags, there's obviously so we're talking about Instagram in particular, right? Or different channels?
In general, hashtags, but I think the place we utilize hashtags most is probably Instagram, isn't it? Or TikTok,
yeah, of course. So I think with hashtags itself, obviously we talked about it in the content marketing one. You can obviously search manually and find the hashtags and make your list in that groups of 10, the 3 groups of 10 rule that I suggested. But for hashtag itself, there's Hashtagify. If I just double check the website, I think it's hashtagify.me. So the full word hashtag, ify.me. And what tools like Hashtagify do is, if you have a particular topic or your business is about, I don't know, cakes or whatever it may be, once you type in the hashtag, it's going to give you the most popular hashtags around that topic. And the reason this is powerful is because you then get a list or a group of hashtags around that topic which you know are proven to be popular, and you can use that to paste in as part of your 30 hashtags on Instagram. And like I said from last week's one, Agorapod allows you to save the hashtags into their own groups. But a tool like Hashtagify can be really good because they collect the information in real time. So if you're typing in cakes today and you're typing in Easter eggs tomorrow, the hashtags will populate differently based on kind of what's trending and what's popular. And then you can just go and copy and paste those into your posts. So again, just research-wise for hashtags, you can use something like Hashtagify. I can't remember the pricing at the top of my head. I think they must have a free version and then maybe a paid version as well. They've got I think 20 odd pounds a month, and then a £60, and then it goes up higher and higher. But for that cost, we all know that we need to use hashtags on a daily basis. So, for £20 a month, you'll be able to research every single one of your posts, get all the data, save those hashtags, and then just copy and paste your content.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. I've got one as well that I use. It's called Hashtag Expert. I think that's quite, I don't know if you've used it before, but I quite like that one.
Hashtag Expert. I don't think I've used it directly. So does that do the same thing where it saves groups of hashtags, or you can type in a word and it brings popular hashtags up?
Exactly, yeah. But I think I don't know. I think it's not much. It's maybe like £20, £30 for the year or something. So it's not too bad. It's an app, and I think you can search as many as you like, but they're all worth looking into, aren't they? These different and
I think your goal is to find what the perfect mix is. So playing around with these tools would help give you different hashtags which you may not have thought of. One quick tip, if you're talking about hashtags, you want to avoid the kind of bait hashtags, which I like to call, which is like for like, or IG for life, or I love IG, or IG daily, or whatever. Those ones obviously are popular, but if your post isn't related to IG daily or outfit of the day or whatever it is, it's going to affect the amount of people that see it that could potentially engage. So just find relevant hashtags. I know it's tempting to it's a sunny day today in London while we're doing this, to put hashtag sunny day or whatever. That might be fine because it's sunny, right? But if there's other posts that aren't to do with the weather and you include it in the same post, then you're not going to give your post the most chances of being found by people who actually like what you share and stuff. So use these tools, but try and find the ones that fit the content the best.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ravi. Relevancy is so very important in social media, in your social media content as well. So I have another question. I'm sorry, it's me asking all the questions today. Unless anybody else has any questions, it would be great to hear them. So again, is there a way that you organize all of your apps and tools? Is there a tool to organize your tools, or an app to organize your apps, or anything like that?
Probably there isn't a tool to directly, because most of the things I've talked about today are websites. So if you're talking about where you can save them, we mentioned it in the content manager chat. Obviously, I just use Session Manager. You can also use your Google bookmarks, your bookmark feature on your browser. A bit more old school, but again, you can group them that way. And for all those people who are using Chrome, I don't know if you knew, but you could actually group your hashtags. Your tabs, you can group your tabs together. So if right now you've got 3 Facebook windows, 4 Twitter windows, and 2 Pinterest windows, you can actually right click the actual tab itself, and you can add tab to new group, and that will now group that particular group of tabs into one specific place on your browser. My tabs are super random, I'll be honest, but if I wanted to be organized where I'm managing like someone's Facebook post or Twitter or whatever it may be, I can group those by using the group feature from Google Chrome, and you can color code it and make it look all nice. You will have to do that every time you start up your PC, but we're all online for like 8-9 hours a day. So if you can group it once, it just means it saves you from having to kind of find where the tab is or where the link is. So again, you can group your tabs or use bookmarks, but as far as I'm aware, there isn't a direct tool to kind of house everything in one place. So I kind of using that bookmark feature would probably be best.
Well, thank you, Ravi. Bookmarking, yeah, it's so important to make sure you're organising everything, that you can get access to things easily, isn't it? And so I did actually have another question, and it's about, well, I did have another question. I don't know where it's gone. I think it's because I did have another question. I genuinely did. I think it was to do with, oh, sorry, yes, this is my question. It's competitor research. So is there a tool that you use or any software that you use for competitor research, see what they're doing and that kind of thing, and to kind of measure yourself against your competitors and that kind of, what they're doing on social media?
Yeah, so I think we're different. So obviously, Agora has a feature built in as well. Facebook themselves, you can actually go and see what your competitors are doing on their pages, but they actually used to also show which companies running ads, and you could actually specifically see the kind of ads they're running. They're live at the time, so you can actually do that via Facebook search. But in all honesty, it depends on what social network you're on. Because you could only pull in data from a specific channel at a time. And what I mean by that is you could either see all the Facebook pages from someone, all the tweets or Twitter pages, Pinterest, etc. So it'll be hard for them to combine all of them because obviously the metrics is all different. So something like Agora I personally use, but otherwise you can obviously just use the built-in. So like Facebook obviously has it where you can search and find all the pages and do it that way. But if you want to be specific about competitors, it's probably best to have a small list yourself. And rather than update all the data all the time, just kind of track that on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. So you just can kind of see what's happening, because the tools will change. The tools will be able to pull it in with things like follower numbers, but if you're wanting to know specifically what everyone's doing for Easter or Christmas or whatever, making a list initially could be the best thing. And there's actually one more tool if you've got time, Lucy. I just remembered it. It's one I used before, which not many people know about, which I haven't used for a while, but I think it's worth mentioning. It's called tryshift.com. And basically, it takes all the apps you use, like we talked about, like Facebook, Slack, WhatsApp web, your browser, Google, and it puts it all into a floating screen, like an application. So when you open it, you can access all of these tools in one window. And the power of that is if you start up your PC and someone messages you on Facebook Messenger, on WhatsApp, or via your Slack, you have to obviously open up separate things to see that, right? This TryShift is just like a free application that once you load it and once all these apps are loaded in, you'll just get a notification in the sidebar and you can flick between them all in one place. And that's without opening loads of tabs. It's all built in. I tried it out for a good 3 to 6 months and it worked really well. I've just got a new laptop, which is probably the reason I haven't tried it since, but it just used to be easy for me to see everything in one place. So if you have loads of applications open, you can pull them all in with something like this, and it just saves you having to find the apps on your desktop or your browser.
I love that, Ravi, and I'm definitely going to try that one. So I remember you mentioning that last time, so it's really good. So I don't know how many tools you've mentioned today, but there's been a lot. So there's enough for everybody listening here to get on with, I think. Thanks, Deb, for adding all the links as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Deb.
Edwin's saying, what's the best browser used for Mac? I personally use Chrome. What about you, Ravi?
I'll be honest, I actually use the Mac like probably once in my whole life, so I'm the wrong guy. I'm a Windows guy, so yeah, I can barely even scroll properly on a Mac because it's all inverted and stuff. So Lucy, you're probably the go-to for Mac stuff, but for Windows,
Windows, I just feel like that about the whole Windows.
Yeah, I mean, we can all agree, as long as you're not using Internet Explorer, you'll be pretty safe.
Yeah, there you go. Don't use Internet Explorer. Okay, so I think that rounds up our session for this month. I've actually really enjoyed it, Ravi. I love hearing about new tools. I love hearing about all these great suggestions. Leslie says some great suggestions. Thank you. This will be available to watch back anyway. We'll be writing up all of the tools and that kind of thing. Ravi will put this up on his YouTube channel. Where can they find that channel, Ravi?
You can just search my name, like you can see below, just Ravi Shukla on YouTube. You'll find me on, you'll find my channel on there, or you can use the URL that we've thrown up below for you now. And also, obviously, today's session is obviously sponsored by Agorapulse as well, which means like we said in the beginning, we're launching our new Agorapulse UK YouTube channel. So if you do search for us on there, we're going to have a lot more tips on social media tools and strategies, which we're going to be sharing on our channel in a weekly basis. So feel free to search Agorapulse UK, search for Ravi Shukla as well if you want to find my personal channel where I share social tips as well. And then, yeah, I look forward to doing a lot more of these for you guys.
Thank you, Ravi. And also, we have a code here, Digital Women Code, DW1 free. If you want to get 1 free month at Agorapulse, it's agorapulse.com/digitalwomen. And then if you do sign up, we do get a bit of a kickback, I think, from that. So we're not just promoting it because we want the kickback. We genuinely use and love Agorapulse, and we wouldn't recommend something we didn't use. And all the money that we get, we just put back into the digital women community to help, do more things like this for you. And
on that note, I just wanted to also point out, with a lot of people starting out that are listening to this, if they're looking to try Agorapulse, obviously you get the free 30 days as well. We obviously have a free plan as well, so you can get started with the tool. So again, there's no pressure to kind of, pay and display. Almost, you can actually go and try out the tool for yourself. Use a Digital Women code as well. And then if you like what you see, obviously you can test out some of the features I mentioned today and let me know what you think.
There you go. And we don't want to turn it into a sales pitch, but Jade,
no, of course.
Pulse all morning, woohoo. Jade loves the Agorapulse. And Jade's our social media manager for Digital Women and Social Day and Viso Media and everything else that you see that's coming out from here. So Ravi, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again next month.
Yes.
What's the topic for next month, Ravi?
I actually need to remind myself what we said the topic was.
It'll be something great anyway, guys.
It'll be something, yeah, it'll be something to save you guys time, money, and resources when managing your social media. But as Lucy said, the Facebook group for Digital Women is also there. So if you jump onto that, feel free to put your suggestions there, and we can obviously be flexible and answer any specific topics you have with social. So we're happy to kind of adjust it as we need to.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Ravi. It's been great to have you here again. Thanks everybody for joining us this month, sorry. And don't forget, the Digital Women community over on Facebook is absolutely brimming with digital people and ideas and that kind of thing. And we also have a website, which is digitalwomen.live, which also includes loads of news and resources and blogs and updates as well. And don't forget to look at that link for Agorapulse as well if you want to sign up or just give it a try. Have a free month on Ravi. So thank you very much again, Ravi. Great to have you. And we look forward to seeing you again next month. Now everybody go outside and enjoy the sunshine.
Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon. See you next month.
See you soon.